I brought this up yesterday. Who did we have? I can't remember. Maybe it was Antonio Danzo. I can't remember. Maybe I think it was with Ephraim. And I said, when I saw the Julius Randle trade, before Giannis news, I was like, oh, shoot. Is Giannis about to completely throw a curveball? We thought, it's going to be either Miami or it was going to be Boston and land in Minnesota? Because that was when I was like, oh, that would be crazy. That fits with Ant-Man. That will give Ant-Man what he's been looking for that Julius Randle couldn't offer him. But ended up, of course, he ends up in Miami. And Julius Randle essentially was just a money dump, and he's no longer there. They got some talent. We know they signed Ayo Dosunmu. Did I say it right?
Ayo Dosunmu.
Him too.
His brother.
Big money. Big money, 114. That's just what I keep telling you about. We were talking about earlier. Just get to the league. Get to the league. Play well. The money will come. My goodness. But there's still some holes in that team, and you don't look at them. You see a team that they can beat San Antonio. They can beat OKC, right? You fit them right in that mix of Denver, them, obviously, right there, obviously, like that second tier in the West. And the conversation becomes, is Anthony Edwards going to be the guy that sticks around, pushes through, or is he going to be the next guy to start doing what Anthony Davis did when he was with New Orleans, what, of course, Giannis did but years later, in that, hey, man, I gave him my best, get me out of here. Is that Ant Edwards to you? Are we in a position where if they don't fix this thing right near in the near future, he's out?
Absolutely. And I preface this by saying I'm not the only one who thinks that. Brian Windhorst, ESPN NBA insider, said on his latest episode of the Hoop Collector podcast, quote, "My question is, what's Ant Edwards thinking? If you were to say who's next after Giannis, we all would have said Ant. And then that Randle trade happened at the exact same time as the Giannis trade. And it's fascinating." He continues, "Ant has been really frustrated since the Cat trade just about how he gets double teamed. They have to do something this offseason about addressing the Ant double team situation, especially knowing that you may not have Dante DiVincenzo." So what Brian Windhorst is saying is not that he's unhappy in Minnesota, not that he doesn't like the market space, not that he wishes that he lived on one of the coastal cities. Like, that's usually what people say when you have a disgruntled superstar. AD just wants to be in LA, right? Carmelo Anthony was tired of the Mile High City. He wanted to go to New York, right? What he is saying is that, no, Anthony Edwards wants to win. And Anthony Edwards is frustrated because the decisions that the Minnesota front office has made over the last few seasons have not panned out. Say what you want about them making the Western Conference Final 2 years in a row. They made the Western Finals. They dumped Karl Anthony Towns. They make the Western Conference Finals again. 2 years later, they dump Julius Randle. So if you are Anthony Edwards and you are seeing guys who I believe he thinks he's better than, I believe that he thinks he's the best player in the league. I believe that when he sees SGA getting all these commercials and Luka Doncic being talked about as the second coming in Los Angeles, and Jokic and Giannis is, hey, these are the guys, they're the face of the league, Victor Wembanyama. I bet you in his opinion, I'm better than all of those dudes. And the only reason I can't show that is because I'm getting double teamed in every possession because I don't have a secondary guy I can give the ball to that's going to alleviate this pressure. And so when it comes to Anthony Edwards, and I'm not a reporter, I'm not Rob Parker, I'm saying I'm on a reporter, I've been doing it for 1987. But I do know people, just like you know people. We all talk to people casually, in informal settings, formal settings, Super Bowl, hotel room, bar, whatever. And a couple of years ago, at one of the Super Bowls that we were all at, I spoke to somebody close to Anthony Edwards. Very casually. I wasn't trying to press him for information. We were just talking. And we asked him, do you believe that Ant's going to win an NBA championship? Because his trajectory at that time looked like he was going to be the next superstar, which he still is, right? And that person told me, absolutely. I just don't think it's going to be in Minnesota. And I think you are seeing that. That was 2 years ago. He had a lot of success in the last 2 years since then. But I think you're seeing it play out. Minnesota and their ownership group, you know, shout out to A-Rod and all those guys, they famously bought the team at an extreme discount on a layaway plan because they could not realistically afford what a average NBA team was going for. It was a big litigation. I don't know if you recall. They were trying to argue over the price because the price they agreed to had gone up. Or the price they agreed to was nowhere close to what the valuation of the team was some years later. I don't think that the Minnesota Timberwolves and their infrastructure is set up to allow Anthony Edwards to reach the pinnacle of what his talent suggests. And that's why I agree with the NBA GMs. I agree with Brian Windhorst that maybe not this year, maybe a year from now or 2 years from now, but Anthony Edwards is going to be the next superstar to demand a trade.
Here's why I would tell you to pump the brakes a little bit. Not a full anti-lock brake, but just a couple of good pumps. And anybody in the Midwest, East Coast knows what I'm talking about. Yo! Just a couple of good pumps. Just a couple of pumps and a bumps. That's all I'm saying, Alex. So, on the surface, I get what you're saying. But here's why I think I would tell you to pump those brakes. When you look at some of the guys you're referencing that have won and they're becoming talk of the town, and Edwards is like, man, what about me? If you start to look at when guys typically win, Jordan was 28 when he won finally. Mm-hmm. Nikola Jokic, 28. Giannis, 26. Jaylen Brown, 27. SGA, 26. Where I'm going with this is, and Edwards is, you're about right where it happens this next few years for you. You know, anywhere between 25-6 to 29-ish. You're right in that range of when guys typically, you know, you got to go through those first few years. GM has to find the right match with you that fits. It takes some time, right? Shaq took some time. I think he was probably my guess doing the math. 2000? He was 98, probably be like 29-ish, something like that, 30.
He was swept 5 times before he won a championship.
Right? And so where I'm going with this is, Ant, you are good to great. I love everything you bring to the game. But this is what happens with the game. You got to figure some things out. And to be honest, you have had more success than a lot of guys typically. You've been to the Western Conference Finals. In fact, some of it even on you, and you've admitted, I could have played better. You could have swung the ball some more. He gets locked in and focused, and maybe that is, I feel like I'm double teaming nobody else. I got to do it. And I can understand that because Julius Randle let you down. So you know what I'm doing as an ownership group? Me and A-Rod and the crew? We're trying to bring some back. They brought Kevin Garnett back, right? They brought KG back. If you don't know, he wasn't in good graces with the organization. They've had a falling out. They're trying to build something new. And you know what? I agree. Julius Randle gave you 12 points against the Spurs that series.
34% shooting.
34% shooting. You know what I'm doing? He's gone. And we didn't even bring back a bad guy. No, we just got basically some money. Free money now that we can spend to get you guys. Ayo was the opposite. He was balling. So we signed him. Another ball creator, another guy who can go get his own shot. So if Ant Edwards, pump your brakes because Jaden McDaniels is just now getting into, you know how much I love him.
Jaden McDaniels.
You know I talk to you.
You've been on that train forever.
Jaden McDaniels is just now getting in his bag, and not just defensively. As a Pistons fan, I look at Asur Thompson, I'm like, man, if that can be where you can go get me 30 against Denver and win games for us.
Not every night, but once in a while.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you're averaging 18 and you're the best defender on the floor every night, give me that. And so I'm saying you're slowly building. And you got Jaden McDaniels, yourself, Nas. Rudy Gobert does exactly what he's supposed to do. We only need you to do what you do, Rudy. You did that against Joker. And then you got Ayo. Say his last name for me.
Dosunmu.
Ayo Dosunmu. You got some pieces. So my whole point is I'm okay with superstars putting a little pressure on them. What did I say about when you got an agent? If you're somebody bubbling in the business and you're trying to move forward and you're on TV, you're on radio, you're doing things, you got, pressure agent some. All right, what's up? Who'd you call? You send my stuff up? What we doing? We got any meetings? What's up? So I don't mind star players going, hey, where we at? We making trade. You know, what's going? I'm ready. I'm locked in. You know what I'm doing this summer, right? I'm working on my post game. Hey, I'm working on swinging the ball and not turning it over so much. But I think they're trying to do what's right by him. And when you look at kind of, again, if you're Denver, for years it was maybe Jamal Murray ain't the guy for Joker. And they finally get it done, right?
Yep.
Oh, man, Giannis just done that. Chris Middleton goes, and then, they're good, and then they finally get Drew Holiday. He's that piece. The NBA is more open now than ever because ain't no Shaq and Kobe where you like, hey, we know they're going to the finals. Ain't no Clay, KD, and Steph where you're like, oh, they're going to the finals. You get what I mean? There's no LeBron in the East where it's a given he's going to finals. Just pick the team. Cleveland, Miami. My point is, Ant has had a lot of success in that team. They get to the Western Conference Finals. They beat teams you kind of thought they wouldn't beat. This year they beat Denver while he was out.
Yep.
Come on, man. That
is your like Rob's Lions missing the playoffs.
I am. I do hang on that.
Yeah, like.
Well, you know why?
Because you don't like Joker. It's a little racist, but it's okay.
I don't like
racist
where people try to put him. Oh, he might be looking at top 10. Bruh. He has 2 centers he has to worry about every night in the whole NBA year. And Embiid don't even make up. He don't even play. So that's one less. AD don't even play. So the 2 guys he really got to worry about don't even play.
Wemby?
Now,
okay.
Yes, I'll give you that. I'll give you Wemby.
But before that,
he ain't really have to do that. And then for a guy who has 3 MVPs, everybody should have been 4. Okay, well, 4, and you can't routinely be in the Western Conference Finals? Mm-hmm. Am I crazy for expecting that?
No.
Because the other guys like that, Rob G, are routinely in the finals.
They stay in the finals.
LeBron went to the finals 10, 11 times. Steph Curry, 6, 7, 8 times, however many times. Kobe, he only had 1 MVP. Mm-hmm. So my point is the guys who have Larry Bird, Magic, these guys.
Tim Duncan.
Yeah, they guys with multiple all the MVPs, they stayed in the finals or at least a threat for it. He ain't even a threat. That's my point with Joker. Anyway, so I digress. If I'm Ant, put the pressure on the organization. You should be demanding. You're playing your all. You're giving it your best. You're one of the best players in the league. But also know you guys are kind of right in the mix. You got a couple of 3 or 4 pieces you can lean on, and you might be a piece away. And the NBA is out now. 8 different champions in a row. If I'm Ant, I'm looking.
Which we both hate.
Yeah, I do. I hate that. But if I'm Ant, I'm looking at why not us? Why not us next year? You know what I mean? Let's see a free agent signing, pick up another piece or 2. Why not? And if I lock in, by the way, and get better myself. Don't think he doesn't have to get better.
Oh, he definitely does.
He's got to make better shot selections. He's got to figure out when to no shoot the 3, when to get in there. He's got to become a much better passer.
Yeah, he's got to figure out how to handle a double team, which is what he's so upset about. Yeah.
Dude, he holds the ball way too long. And you know who else had to do that time to time? Jalen Brunson. Mm-hmm. Kind of, because your point is, I know it's coming, but if I can do this, sometimes you got to just swing that thing and let somebody else cook tonight. So yeah, I think Minnesota has been right around the mix. You know what it reminds me of? The West Coast version of the Celtics. Remember they just kept being around Eastern Conference, hanging out, and you're like, man, they're right around there. And then finally they get there. And they lost to the Warriors, but they got there. And then, of course, they re-up and they come back and they win it a couple years later. I think it's like that where you just keep sticking around, hanging around. Obviously, I think Joker starts to decline a little bit, just off age, and maybe Jamal Murray moves. And then you're right there where we're a guy away, a great series away from beating OKC or beating the Spurs, and now you're sitting in the finals at 27, 28 years old.
I agree with what you're saying, but I'm glad you brought up the Boston Celtics because if that's going to be the model where you're saying, hey, if we're just in the mix, eventually we're going to kick the door down because we believe Anthony Edwards is that good. The difference between what Boston did and what Minnesota is currently doing is that when they pivoted from the Marcus Smarts, right? Or they pivoted from
Kyrie,
whoever, right? They didn't lose them for nothing. You basically in 2 years, you turned an all-NBA big man, arguably the greatest shooting big man in NBA history, either him or Dirk and Karl Anthony Towns. You turned him.
I love Karl, but don't put him on Dirk level.
Percentages-wise, right? Just like Rui Hachimura, the greatest three-point shooter in playoff history.
Don't come on the show analytically.
We love stats. That's why you hate Joker, because you don't like numbers.
I you're right, Rudy Gobert. I like Joker a lot, but come on now, Joker. I should have the right to be more demanding.
That's fair.
All I'm saying.
Totally fair. But that's the thing is when they made those pivots away from established players, they did it by replacing them, maybe not with someone better, but just somebody different. They never lost them for nothing. I guess maybe the Kyrie thing is a bad example because he left the free agency, but they were prepared for that coming in. I think they knew right away when he said, "I'll stay as long as you'll have me." They're like, "Oh yeah, he's probably gone." Yeah. So, what you have to do if you are Minnesota, and again, you had Karl Anthony Towns, All NBA big man. You say it's not going to work. We don't think financially. That's the reason they did it was financially. It wasn't because of production. We got to get rid of him, get less expensive at that position, get some more depth. Bring in DiVincenzo, bring in Randall. DiVincenzo gets hurt, nothing to do about that. Bring in Julius Randle, and now you're dumping him to move back 5 slots in the draft. A salary dump. So you can open up the $15 million mid-level. Julius Randle's not a great player by any stretch of the imagination, but he's a hell of a lot better than a salary dump.
Is he?
How is he not?
Did you see him in the playoffs?
I did. There's a lot of guys who didn't play well in the playoffs. SGA didn't play well in the playoffs.
Don't do that. He didn't play well for where his level is.
Mikal Bridges didn't play well in the playoffs.
I agree. But Julius Randle can't not play well. He's supposed to be my second best player.
Fair.
And he can't play that poorly. You can be a little off.
Sure.
Shoot, Jalen Brunson was inefficient the first couple of games.
Sure.
Then he got it going. Julius looked unplayable. And so I'd rather go out there and find a Trey Murphy 2 years ago.
So then why didn't they do that?
Because
you couldn't trade him for draft picks?
But now I have some money to go do that, to go get somebody. Maybe they were on the phone with Austin Reeves. I'm just, throwing.
Right.
Maybe they're out here trying to get some of these guys that are available. Herb Jones, who's become a good, who knew he could shoot 3? I'm like, what the heck? That's an ugly left hand. Oh, and there's some guys out there that are available. Maybe you go get a Rui. And Rui, yeah, his ceiling wasn't a Julius Randle ceiling, but maybe he's the consistency I needed. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, at least I know what I'm getting from him. Whereas Julius, the up and down and not showing up. So I think, dude, and you just kept Io. So I'm just saying they knew they had to get some money for him because they had to throw him $100-something million. And then you got enough to go get another piece or two. And I'm just saying, if you look at what we have witnessed with the Thunder, with the Knicks, with the Spurs, and they didn't win it, but just around in the mix, it ain't always having these heavy, big name, top name guys.
No.
Karl Anthony Towns, to me, is more performative by name than really the what he brings at times. You get what I mean? It's just the name is bigger than the production.
Sure.
If I'd have told you they'd win a game in the finals and he had 2 points, you'd say I'm crazy.
Hey, shout out Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh did that too a couple
He
years
did
ago.
do that. But so what I'm saying is Minnesota can start to put a bunch of guys like the Spurs. They got Wemby, but then they got a bunch of guys,
Yes.
right? Thunder, SGA, but then they got a bunch of guys. And all I'm saying is that's what the model is now. So I might not have bring back a sexy name that you would have wanted for Julius Randle, but I got 2 other dudes, a Champagne type of a sale type.
Then why did they get 2 other dudes?
You know what I'm saying? With the money I have now.
$15 million, you're going to get 2 other dudes?
Let me go sign these dudes real quick.
Okay.
Let me go sign them real quick.
We know a guy.
Yeah. All right, Rob, so they're watching us right now, which means another thing they can do is what?
They can subscribe. All you got to do is hit that button, subscribe to The Odd Couple for some of the best sports talk content in the nation.
Facts, and while you're at it, they can like, they can comment, they can share. Do all that for us. We appreciate it. Just do all that right up in here.